Good evening, good evening, good evening. Free Your Mind podcast is back tonight with another episode. We're so excited to be back. We have Queen LaRonda tonight. And then also we have a special guest host, Queen Elizabeth Gibbs. She will be joining us tonight. And in a minute, we're going to have her to formally introduce herself and tell us a little bit about herself. But before we get started, as always, free your mind. We're going to share what we are thankful for. And also, again, as far as our topic tonight, our topic is going to be the spirit of a woman. And then also, we will be, with October being Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we're going to share some input on domestic violence as well. And we'll take it away from there. Which one of you queens want to start it off first with telling what you're thankful for?
We'll let the guest go first.
Okay. Yes.
I'll take it. Well, again, thank you so much just for the opportunity to join you and spend some time with you this evening. I am grateful for life and I'm grateful for my family. So I'm grateful for a lot of things, but I'll keep that short and pass it right back to you, Rhonda.
Yes, and so as always, there's so many things that we can be grateful for. But tonight, your sister is grateful for her heated blanket.
Come
Praise
on.
the Lord. Listen,
Yes.
I didn't get the memo.
you didn't
That
get the
was a
memo.
blanket. I didn't get the memo.
Look, I need to get me a heated blanket.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Well, I'm going to go off saying I'm thankful for health, thankful for life, thankful for another day. And then I'm just going to say I actually shared it on Facebook because it's been a rainy day, cold outside, and I'm thankful to have a husband that cooked. I came home and he had dinner ready, so that I was so thankful. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm thankful for. I don't never say a lot. I tell him, but publicly say I'm thankful. So I'm thankful for my husband for doing that, and I don't have to do it.
That's awesome. We celebrate him. We're grateful for him too. Grateful for his initiative and just for his willing
That's
and
right.
obedient.
Right. Yes, thank you. So you all, before we get started, uh, Queen Elizabeth, I want to ask you to just, introduce yourself and just tell us a little about yourself, and then we'll go from take it away into our
Sure.
topic.
Sure. Well, I will lean into what I'm learning is the culture here. So we're addressing each other as queen. So thank you, Queen Frida. I appreciate that. My name is Elizabeth Giss. I am a president and CEO of Grow Leaders Coaching and Consulting. I am a career coach. I also have the amazing ability of serving on the board for Project Rest, which is an organization that provides a myriad of services for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. So I am grateful to be here with you all this evening and just happy to share information and any input, just hoping that we can touch even one person. So just happy to be here.
Yes, and that's what it's about. If we can just touch one person. Sometimes a lot of people think it has to be a crowd. If you get through to one person,
Mhm.
that's what matters. That's what it's all about. Uh, so our topic tonight, the spirit of a woman. That topic. Well, I'm going to start off actually with the scripture, and First Peter 3:3-4. Your beauty your beauty should be there of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight. Um, when it comes to the spirit of a woman, women are sometimes satisfied with themselves inwardly and reflect a soft and tender peacefulness in their lives. It's the meaning as far as the spirit of a woman. The spirit of a woman means having a strong, independent personality, a gentle and nurturing demeanor, and a deeper spiritual connection to life and also to motherhood. And also, too, in some cases, not all women, but some women, in some cases, have become loud, aggressive, and masculine in manners.
Mhm.
Um, and then Also, I had added on leaving God pattern or womanhood, sometimes trying to be better than men, themselves. Um, so, what are y'all insights on that as far as the spirit of a woman?
Go ahead, Liz. You're the
I'll
king.
go. I love all that you shared. To me, a spirit of a woman is it encompasses so much. There's so many layers that we have in our journey, so many things that have shaped us, that have formed who we are, who we continue to show up as, and then also just our resilience. There's something to be said about a woman that continues to show up, and there's something to be said about a woman that's anchored in her faith as
Right.
well. And so I think when I think of the spirit of a woman, I think of all that God has created me to be, personally speaking. I think
Right.
of all of the beautiful ingredients that He added in, all of the extra things that I've gone through to provide pressure to continue to press the oil that comes out. I think about all of the people that He's allowed me to be connected to that help to really mature and grow me as a woman. And so I think all of those things help build that spirit of a woman that, like I said, that resilience, that ability to say, I'm just going to keep pushing through. I'm going to keep showing up regardless of what it looks like. I'm anchored in my faith, so I know who's backing me, but I also
Right.
have resources when I don't have an answer. So I think that's what it means to me.
Yes, yes, I love that. Yes.
Mhm.
I'm on cheat. So every time we have every time we have a talk, and if there's a specific topic, I like to research it and look up things. And I was looking at I don't know where I found this from, but anyway, the spirit of a woman highlights the courage it takes to survive, and that goes along with that resilience that Liz was just talking about.
Hmm.
The hope it takes to begin again, and the community, as she said, the people that surrounds her, it takes to truly heal. Together, we honor the women who rise through adversity and create space for every voice to grow stronger.
Mm,
So it really just backs up what Liz said from her heart, um, and that went along with it.
I love that.
Yes, 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 I love that. Right. Yes. I also had too, which I had resilience and freedom, or to acquire were inner beauty, kindness, and commitment, faith, and nurturing. Nurturing. So, what are some things as far as when it comes to the spirit of a woman? What are some things do you think that will help a woman to feel feminine?
Mm.
Ooh,
I think a lot of times with anybody, we're molded by, and it could be one or two things or both, nature and nurture. So a lot of times it depends on the example we may have had to show us what a woman or a lady is to be. And then
Right.
also some of the things that we experience in life may teach us different things or different ways. We see somebody else, may not have been someone that reared us or raised us, but we see something in somebody else and we pick a piece of that, and then we pick a piece of this. And to me, it really is perspective, how
Right.
you perceive someone to be feminine. Because I can still be a female, and Liz is gonna laugh and knock if you buck. Now that don't mean physically,
Yes.
able
Yes.
to, what I'm saying.
you
So
might.
I think it
Right.
depends on the individual on what they determine is feminine. We know society has the standard of what feminine
Right.
looks like, but to each his own of how you want to define it.
Right. Right. Oh yes, I love it.
Can I just insert something real quick? Something I'm noticing. I'm noticing that this theme song of Nuck If You Buck is like following me. Someone sent me a DM of a meme with the song, and I was like, I'll take it. It's my theme song. I'll take it.
It is. You
Look at
you
that.
know
Go
it
ahead.
is. You know it is.
No, but I love that. I love and as you were talking, Rhonda, I was thinking about something where you're so right. Based upon what we've been shown coming up to tell us that it's okay to be feminine, I heard this term, or I've been hearing this term, soft era, soft girl era.
Mhm.
And
Hmm.
it's like this era of where you're starting to relax and sit into your femininity. And I was like, wait a minute, when did we pivot? When did
Right.
we pivot from being able to? And I realized that some never made the pivot, some never had permission to be
Mm.
soft.
Mhm.
When you're coming up and maybe all you've ever had to do was survive, when you've been the decision maker, the caretaker, the caregiver, rather, for everyone, you really have this kind of hard exterior where you really can't soften up because it hasn't been
Right.
safe to.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I think, one, if it were someone that I was talking to one, give themselves permission,
Mhm.
permission to feel, permission to be, permission to rely on others, permission to be vulnerable, permission to feel what you're feeling.
Yes. Yes.
And unapologetically say, this doesn't sit right with me. Or I don't agree with this. Or I'm no longer in a position where I'm going to be overextending myself for the comfort of others.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
think it's permission. It starts with permission. It starts with identity, knowing what God says about you, knowing that you don't have to take on all of these external expectations. Because that's a lot of time, that's what forms that wall around the feminine side of us.
Right. Right. Oh yes. Yes. I love that. I love that.
Liz, I think you hit on something important when you said identity, because a lot of times we don't know who we are, and
Mhm.
definitely we struggle with whose we are.
Mhm.
Um, I was talking to somebody, we're talking to some individuals at work, and a lot of times we identify with being a mother or being a counselor, being a coach, being a minister, those things. But what if those things are stripped away from us? Then who do you identify as? Do you really know who God says that you are? And I remember somebody, I think my mom actually told me this. She was studying on Proverbs 31. And I think all of us, for me, as I was learning about Proverbs 31, I always thought I had to be everything that the Proverbs 31 was. So you know this part. And
Mhm.
she broke it down to me. She was like, no, because you can't be.
Mm-mm.
That's like the perfect person if
The
you turn
perfect
out to be
person.
everything that this Proverbs 31 woman is. And so you are to identify what God has identified you as. Because you might not be a mother. And that part where it says her children rise up and call her blessed. Well, if you don't have children,
Children.
that part may not be you. You may
Mhm.
not be a wife.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
and I think just learning who God says that you are and aligning His plan with your purpose. So
Yeah.
His plan is my purpose.
Yeah.
If He says this is who I am, if I'm to be the bold one and to be able to go out and come from behind the scene, then that's who I'm going to be. But I might be the one that stays behind the scene if God has put me there. And I know a lot of people want to say, push, you push, but that may not be where God put me. So you
Right.
have to know what your identity is in Him and not just identify as this wife or this mother. Or, I was telling one of the questions when we do a safety plan is, what's the one thing that's most important to you that
Mm.
makes you want to live? Well, if you say your pet, what if your pet dies? So that part of you that
Right.
wants to live and you identify with that is no longer here, then what do you do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I love what you just said about going back to boldness. Sometimes we misconstrue boldness as arrogance, that we have to be
Mm,
this aggressive, rather, I should say, this aggressive personality, and we're going to force and charge our way in. And that doesn't necessarily mean boldness. Now, you could be aware of your skills, you can be aware of your point that you're advocating for, whatever it is, but there is still beauty in softness and kindness. And you can be very direct, very bold, without raising your voice, without taking on this kind of mannish, demeanor to get your
Right.
point across. So again,
Right.
it's also back into, one, what we've seen that worked, because we've made
mm,
where someone has a soft spoken voice and we're like, that doesn't work.
right.
Right.
And so it goes back to what we've seen, what we believe will work, and what we've given ourselves permission to be.
Mhm.
Right. Yes. Yes. I love that. And that's one thing I had to, when it comes to like my job as far as being a leader, which I'm soft spoken, I'm quiet, but I had to pray for boldness. I had to pray and ask God to help me to be bold. And
Mhm.
being bold, I see the difference versus me being just that soft spoken out, soft spoken person. And if I want somebody to do something, like as far as me being a leader over my team, I have to have boldness, because if I don't, then they're not going to respect me. They're not going to listen to me. But do it in a, like you said, I like a nice way,
Mhm.
and I see the difference, and everybody be like, oh, and then you have some people are bold and they are rude. Do it in a different way. But yeah, I had to actually pray for boldness. I was like, the Lord help me bring boldness into me. And now, I'm like, okay with it, but soft with it, but I'm doing it.
Yeah, I can relate to that praying for boldness. I know that, and I know we're talking about domestic violence as well, but I know that some of my timidity, most of, if not all of my timidity, came from domestic violence.
Mhm.
It came from me learning how to stay out of the way. I learned how to keep my voice low. Even now, I don't raise my voice at all, but I'm direct. I say what I need to say, and I
Right.
keep it pushing. But at the same point in
Mhm.
time, it's always going to be wrapped in love. Like you're all,
Right.
hopefully, I should say, hopefully, someone knows when I'm communicating with, like, I genuinely care. Um,
Right.
but I had to learn how to own my voice and place value on my voice. And so now I don't need to raise my voice. I don't need to, because what
Right.
I can say can be impactful enough at this level.
Mhm.
And so I think when you pray for boldness, be okay with receiving it in a way that doesn't look like everyone else's.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I'm a little quiet. Rhonda won't agree. I am a little quiet. I'm introverted. I always say that I'm introverted. I'm a bootleg introvert. That means so bootleg introvert. But at the same point in time, I understand the power of my voice, and I don't need to be the loudest person in the room.
Right.
So, and that's
Honestly, Liz, I do agree. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I do agree with you. I don't think that you are this loud person. You are a soft spoken person, and you are direct, and you is understood what you mean.
Mhm.
You don't have to yell. You don't have to get out of character. It is understood what you mean. I mean, literally, you don't have to question it. You say what you say. You mean what you say. You stand on what you say, but it's not this loud, outrageous voice. So I agree with you on that.
Thank you.
Yes, this is awesome. So, y'all, of course, again, this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So, we are going to touch on domestic violence, and uh, we're going to have Queen Liz. She's going to share some information with us, also, too, a video, and then just briefly, when it comes to domestic violence, which I'm going to ask you, I have experienced domestic violence. At one point, I because I spoke at a church before on domestic violence, and when I was hearing other people's stories, then it made me kind of feel like, well, I didn't really go through all of that, and so it kind of made me think, like, should I be speaking, saying I experienced domestic violence? But God had to show me, and I had to learn that there are different types of domestic violence all the time. It is physical. It is, it's more than one type. It's financial domestic violence, social, uh, keeping you away from family. It's just so many, and so I had to learn that everyone's story is not the same.
Yeah.
Still share your story. So tonight, that's what we're going to open for with you too. Just share a little piece
Of
of your
course.
story, what you feel comfortable as far as sharing, and then also tell us about your mission with Project Resist as well.
Okay, of course. Well, one, thank you for sharing that piece of it. When I tell you, if I had something to throw at the screen when you just shared what you shared, I would have, because I experienced the very same thing. People are like, I think people are just starting to learn that this is part of my journey.
Mm-hmm.
And for a long time, I didn't talk about it. And I didn't realize that I had suppressed it so much, because I'm like, I'm okay, I'm doing good. And I was just like you. I was like, we'll save the platforms for those that really have a story.
Right.
And then
Right.
finally, I remember I had received an opportunity to share my story, and I was like, "Ooh, you need somebody else that you know." I was like, "Me, I'm all right." And they were like, "No, we really want you to share your story." I had to recall some of the things because I'm
Mhm.
like, "This did happen, right?" This because I had
Mhm.
buried it, and then
Right.
take it even further. I had reached out to one of my therapist friends and I was like, "Hey, I was asked to do this. I feel weird. What's happening? What's going on?" And she was like, "Well, you do know like post traumatic stress disorder comes with this type of trauma." And she's
Mhm.
like, "You could form a wall, a defense mechanism of this didn't happen. So you form this form of disassociation with it.
Mhm.
And to where you think because you're still alive, your story doesn't matter."
Mhm.
Because there are some really traumatic stories out there where people did not make it out.
Right.
And so you almost have this type of survivors type of like, you know, I made it out. I'm okay. I'm going to save that for another story that really needs
Mhm.
attention. So I went through that very same thing. And then it wasn't until I started speaking again to one of the partners there at Project Rest, and I had to remind myself of the charges. I had to go back and look at the charges and the police reports and all of those things to familiarize myself with how bad it was.
Right.
And so I share that to say thank you for sharing that because it helps me understand that it wasn't just something I was isolated in feeling, that other
Mhm.
people may be feeling that as well, that they may be discounting their story as well.
Right. Yes.
But in sharing just high level, I did experience several years of domestic violence. It was physical, it was emotional, it was psychological, financial. Um, it was just the most terrifying time of my life that I can imagine. And keeping it high level because there's still some things that I'm still actually processing through just
Mhm.
because I'm just now starting to unpack these things.
Right.
But I do recall that there were many incidents where there was physical violence, and physical violence was a norm. It was an expected norm. It was, you know, hey, if something wasn't right, I can expect there to be a physical altercation. It could sometimes be just physical or emotional, to where you're having things said to you that just break you down to your core, break you down to your spirit. And one thing that I thought about is that it never even occurred to me to leave until I left. I was like, this is normal. This is normal. I didn't have any examples around me that didn't really say that this is wrong. And so it allowed me to stay into something. I normalized it. I almost had a form of Stockholm syndrome where you feel compassionate towards your abuser and you're like, it's got to be something I'm doing.
Mhm.
It's got to be my fault. And so I experienced a lot of that. Plus, there was financial abuse. Where was I going? What was I going to do? How was I going to start over again? But by the grace of God, just for the sake of time, it was just an environment and a situation that I just couldn't leave me and my children in any longer. We had to get out. And the reason I knew I had to get out, and I'll share this piece of it, officers would come out very often. They knew us by name. They would come out very frequently. And this one officer, and I know to this very day God used this officer, he came out and he said, Elizabeth, and he said, I know we've done this several times before, but I'm telling you, this time is going to be different. If I have to come back out here again, it's going to be, I remember his words clear as day, to put you in a body bag and to put your children in foster home.
Mhm.
And it was like, it clicked because the one thing that I thought about was my children being without me.
Right.
It never even occurred to me that I could die. It didn't
Mhm.
even occur to me that I could die as a result of this. And so, because of that, it was like, okay, I got it. But before then, I want people to understand like how I was feeling. I was timid. I learned I had anticipatory people pleasing skills, which means I could almost anticipate what needed to be done to keep the peace.
Mhm.
And that followed over into my life because I was able to say, if I just, be quiet, if I just stay out of the way, I learned to be a perfectionist. I learned to, be hyper independent, not to rely on anyone too much. I learned not to need anything. And so when people experience like minimalism and they're like, okay, I don't need too much. Or even if I'm going to speak somewhere, I'm like, I don't need anything. I don't need, an assistant. I'm good. I'm okay. Those are still traumatic responses that I'm working through. But one other thing was I was suicidal. I'm like, death has got to be better than this. But by the grace of God, the attempts didn't work. That officer said what he needed to say to me. I realized that that officer was an angel of God because had I stayed, I would not be sitting here in front of you both today.
Right.
And so we made the move. We made the conscious decision to pick up with nothing. I'm talking about nothing. And to start over and to start from scratch. Was it scary? Yes. Was it an impossible journey, an impossible situation? Did I consider going back? Absolutely. Did I try to go back? Absolutely. Because what most people don't understand is that it's a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
When you make that decision to leave, it's not linear.
Right.
It's a cycle that happens because again, Stockholm syndrome, you start to miss your abuser. You start to miss the violence and the noise. And you're like, it's too quiet. I haven't upset anybody. I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so you would prefer a little piece of love rather than a whole lot of peace.
Yeah.
And so there were so many things that I reconsidered and I said, did I do the right thing? Did I, you know, should I have uprooted us and moved to this state where I'm starting over from scratch? Yes, I absolutely should have. Because when I tell you, God has done so much with that yes. He has blown my mind. He still continues to blow my mind. My children are thriving. I'm thriving. I have an amazing, wonderful, beautiful husband. We have 4 amazing sons. And I'm telling you, my life couldn't be better. And I realized this that it looks polar opposite to what it once did.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So even when I go to look back and find those deep, dark memories, they're hard to find because I'm like, my life looks so much different now. And I'm like, I can't believe that that was once me,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
but it was. And because there's no physical scars. So you have to dig deep and say, yes, that is part of your story. So even with what you shared, it is part of our story.
Right. Yes.
And the scars, sometimes they're skin deep. Sometimes they're down off in there and we can't see. And so I used to attribute this high achiever mindset that I have. I'm like, I'm a hard worker. But I didn't realize that I was a hard worker because I was afraid to lose and go back to nothing because I was afraid of what I would go back to.
Mhm.
And so it's a good skill set to have, but you got to understand why you have that method and way of working, why you continue to push. My
All
husband
right.
will tell you, if I have something that's asked of me that I have to do, I'm going to get it done by any means necessary to the point where I might even sacrifice sleep. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But it goes to show you that I'm so committed to delivering change, to delivering transformation. Whatever you ask of me, I'm going to do that. Because for so many years, I wasn't allowed to do any of that.
Right.
So I'll pause there. Go ahead.
Okay. So some of the things that you were saying, like when you trauma bonding,
Mm-hmm.
which is a big part of that, which is the same, and I can't ever say that word, so I ain't gonna try to say it. But same thing that you were saying, to where you feel like you want to be accepted, so you're willing to just go through what you have to go through to maintain
Mm-hmm.
a part of this relationship. Who was it? Betty Wright. I used to love Betty Wright back in the day when she said, "A piece of man is better than having no man at all." And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we still have that mindset that if I can just get a little bit of him, I'll
Mm-hmm.
be okay.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you
Mhm.
mentioned is you talked to the therapist and she told you that the signs and the symptoms and the things that you were doing was a part of PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a book, and I can't remember the author, but it's called The Body Keeps Score.
Yes.
And I say that all the time because even something, and it's not simple, but if you think of a person as when it was in a car accident, and if you
Mhm.
see a car accident happen in front of you, you automatically jump, you tense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can say for me, I tense up, and it takes me
Mhm.
back to a car accident that I may have been into. So the same thing when you're thinking about domestic violence, and you heard it before. If you see a woman and she's been in an abusive relationship, and someone yells, she jumps.
Mm-hmm.
If a
Mhm.
door slams, she jumps because the
Yeah.
body remembers, even though you may have put it way, 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 way back, you disassociated from the event, but your body remembers it.
Yeah.
Panic attacks happen because your body remembers the abuse. The event is not going on right now, but
Mm-hmm.
your body remembers it.
Remembers.
And then to go back to what you said, Frida, just the standard definition of domestic violence: a pattern of behaviors, physical, sexual, emotional, psychological, economic, or technological, used by one person in a relationship or household to gain or maintain power and control over another.
Mhm.
So it's not just the physical, it is like all aspects of life that can happen that can lead to domestic violence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And one thing that most don't think about is that those that are in the home when this is going on, it impacts them as well.
Hmm.
So the children,
Yes.
this is what they come up seeing. You have children that are overly nervous, that are
Hmm.
jumpy,
Mhm.
that you have to be mindful in the tone in which you speak to them.
Yep.
They also take on those behaviors that they see in the home, so they learn to stay out of the way.
Yep.
They're very timid. They don't know how to advocate for themselves. And so that's what I'm encouraging anyone that is in this situation to think about your children and to think about the impact and to think about yourself, right?
Mhm.
As
Yep.
parents,
Right.
as moms, as dads, whomever. Now, we don't forget about men because men experience this as well too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. Right.
Sometimes we have that gender gap understanding where we're like, this only impacts women. It does not.
Mhm.
It
And then
impacts.
same sex relationships too.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. We
Mhm.
have to consider that this is a whole population that it impacts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so there's children that are left out of this when
Mhm.
they're placed
Right.
into homes and they're placed into shelters and they don't have any sense of normalcy. Like that's why we have to be able to tell our stories. We have to be able to get resources out there and say, there's
Mhm.
help. There's help.
Mhm.
There's.
There's help. Now, where I came from, there wasn't a lot of conversation around it.
Mhm.
And so it was only when I got here that I actually got connected to it was Safe Homes at the time.
Mhm.
It's Project Rest, but it
Mhm.
was Safe Homes at the time. And
Mhm.
so that's when I had an advocate and they were like, "Yeah, we're going to go to court. We're going to go." And I'm, "You going to go with me?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're going to give you therapy. We're going to give therapy to the children. Do I have to pay for this?" No.
No. Mm-mm.
And so they were like, "Here's what you can expect. Here's what's going to happen.
Mhm.
Here's what can and cannot happen. Here's what you need to ask for." There were all these support and resources that I didn't even know was available, that I didn't know was out there.
Right.
And even with the resources, I still had to have some type of renewed mind that didn't come until much later because there was support and they were saying all the right things, but there was still part of me like, how is this my life?
Mhm.
Mhm.
How do I have all these strangers advising me now? How did I go from not so bad to this is terrible?
Mhm.
Right.
How did I go from that? And then so much so as things started getting better and better, I just suppressed a lot of those memories.
Mhm.
But you got to deal with them.
Right.
Because I guarantee you they're showing up in your role. I coach career professionals all the time. I coach high achievers all the time. And they're like, I can't figure out why I'm burning out. Let's
Mhm.
unpack some trauma a little bit.
Let's back up. Yeah.
Right.
Let's
Yeah.
back up. Now, while we don't mix and blur the lines of therapy into coaching, but we say this is a therapy issue.
Mhm.
This is
Mhm.
something where we're going to tag in another resource, a
Mhm.
therapist to align with your coaching. But a lot of what we uncover is things that they've learned. They've learned how to mask. And so it's
Mhm.
like, I'm going to burn out at any cost because I'm afraid to lose the normalcy that I have. So I'm just going to
Right.
do everything I can to keep it.
Or
Mhm.
there's a lot of individuals who push themselves so hard is when growing up they had to have straight A's. They couldn't, so that
Mhm.
perfectionism mindset, and so it continues on into adulthood to where I'm constantly pushing myself because I'm striving for perfection and not just progress.
Patient. Right.
It does.
Right.
It's not even being allowed to rest. Like,
Right.
I'm going to share something, and it'll probably resonate with someone that's watching. You're sitting down doing nothing, but the minute someone comes in, you got to pop up like you're doing something.
Hmm.
Where did you
Mhm.
learn that?
Right. That's good.
Right.
That's good.
Right.
Where did you learn that rest was given to everyone else but you? Where did you learn that?
That's good.
Mm.
And now they feel guilty if they're just sitting there not doing anything.
And not
Wow.
doing nothing right.
Wow. That's
Mhm.
good.
And a lot of us take that on. A lot of us learn that. We don't know where it comes from. But if we dig into and look, take a look in our rear view, as I always say, we can see all of those things that are coming up. Like, this makes
Mhm.
sense now.
Mm-hmm.
Even when it comes to making friends, you don't want to let people get too close. Why? Because you probably haven't had a lot of safe spaces.
Yeah.
So if
Or
Right.
everybody's
rejection.
not acting funny, you probably got
Mm-hmm.
a little trauma you need to
The
work out.
trauma.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, some people
Right.
are acting funny, but
But you
Yes.
got to have that discerning spirit to know
Spirit
when
right,
to
people.
know.
certain
Right.
spirit,
Right. You'll be able to know if you had a discerning spirit.
yeah,
Right.
And
but
Liz, you talked about youth, like the children that are in the household and they witness the violence. But it can happen even while the child is in the womb. Because a
yes,
lot of times we try to figure out, well, why is this baby so nervous? Why is this baby crying so much? But if mom was a victim of domestic violence, it doesn't necessarily have to be physical, just the yelling. Because guess what? We read to our babies, we sing
yes,
to our babies, we
yes,
try to soothe them when they're moving around. So if they're
Right.
constantly hearing that yelling from the external environment, when they come out, it's the same thing.
The
And so
same
now
thing.
and that's because you can do therapy with a newborn or
yes.
even from like 0 to 3 months. Now, I'm not trained in doing that, but there are some individuals that get that training because you do have these babies that come out and they're anxious from birth.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So
yeah.
that
It's just
environment matters.
it's just so many
Right.
things of just asking yourself, you know, why am I here? Why am I staying? What narrative have I told myself to make me believe that this is okay?
And I'm glad you said that because I was listening to a podcast and it was about a domestic violence situation. And she said, don't ask, why did you stay? But ask, how did you get out?
Hmm.
And I was like, wow,
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
People don't understand that surviving or survival of it is strength in
Hmm.
itself.
Right.
And like I said earlier, it's not a linear. There's a build up to the decision to leave.
Hmm.
It's not a, you know what, tomorrow's Tuesday, I'm leaving. There's a whole thing. And especially when there's children involved.
Yes.
Right.
And so
Right.
Or threats. If they threaten, if you leave, I'm coming after your family.
exactly. And so there's so many factors to consider when one makes that decision to leave. For example, you don't know what to expect in the court system. You don't know what to expect. You don't even know what to ask for. And so I'm so glad, even with the advocacy and the legal services that Project Rest provides, they're right there in the courthouse.
Mhm.
So on the third floor, they're like, oh, you need some help? We got you. You need to know how to file an order of protection? We got you.
That's good.
And so it's all about knowing where those resources are and then understanding that you have options. My problem before I made the move was that I didn't think I had options.
Mhm.
I said, it's got to be this way. It's been this way for years. Why would it change? I was waiting on him to make a change.
Mhm.
So I didn't think that I had any voice or anything in the matter. And I'm like, you know what? I can deal with it if I just learn to stay out the way
Mhm.
and I just figure out whatever I can do just to not be aggravating and frustrating. We should be okay.
You should be okay.
Right. Right. So that's what a lot of women, because I hear a lot of women say, I don't know how she did that. I would never do that. Why it's so hard to leave. All you gotta do is leave. And I tell women, like, until you've been in the situation, you can never say that.
That's
It's
Yeah.
right.
not as easy as getting your bag, walking out the door, because, like you said, there are threats. There are all type of factors. It depends on if you have kids. Now, as far as the traumatizes with kids, like me growing up, I saw my mom, my dad. My dad was a good person, but then when he drank, he turned to somebody else. And
Mhm.
so, with me being the oldest child, I remember a lot of it. And I can't stand to this day. Being, for a while, I used to be like, why am I like that? Until I learned more about domestic violence. And I was like, it was family domestic violence.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, it's part of a domestic violence I experienced. And so, like, hollering, it is a trigger for me. If
Mhm.
someone holler, even growing up, even when I had kids, being in the home, sometimes, which me and my husband, we don't do nothing like that. But if we had a disagreement about something, sometimes I would tend to shut down and
Mhm.
not express myself,
Mhm.
because I said I would never do any type of hollering, anything around my kids. But
Mhm.
since they're grown, as time passed, I was like, I should have used my voice, express. And so now, I be doing it. My husband, like, we don't be arguing nothing, but I be just express myself. He be looking at me, he be like,
Yeah, so I got to get this out.
Right.
I got to sit with it. I got to get
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
right.
out.
But I just kept so much in for so long, because I'm like, I made it a promise that I would never do that in front of my kids. But hollering, even if it's like, anybody, someone holler at me, it's like a trigger.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I really, like, one of my supervisors did it one time, and I became so upset, and it's like I got, like, real nervous.
Mhm.
But as I became nervous, it made me, like, want to, like, I felt like I was getting back in the corner, like I want to push back. So I really
Mhm.
had to go in the bathroom and pray and, like, Lord, help me, because it was
Yeah.
a trigger.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of times, a lot of women, when certain situations happen, they do things because they done kept it in for so long, and they be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe she did that. But that trigger, because she never um faced it or got any type of help for it or talked to anybody, that just kept it in, and that one trigger
Yeah.
made her explode. uh, a
Yeah.
Well, it
lot of
was pressure. It was just like that movie Straw. That was the last straw.
times.
Pressure
Right.
burst pipes.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Right.
eventually it's gonna come out.
It's gonna come out.
Yeah.
Right.
I had to, I'll share it, and I'm sure he wouldn't mind me sharing this, but even my husband, he didn't come up in a home where they talked about things.
Mhm.
And so that, of course, came into the marriage where I had to really like draw, like, hey, it's okay. Give it to me. What's going on with you? And
Right.
so now, a decade in, we've got an understanding like, hey, we need to process whatever we're feeling. We need to talk about it. But he never was provided that safe environment
Mhm.
to say, this is how I feel about it.
Mhm.
This is, I don't agree with it, or whatever it is. Let's just talk
Right.
about it.
Mhm.
Now, me, on the other hand, after I made my exit, I became this defense person. I was always on the defense.
Mhm.
And so I was this hard person, and it's probably a little hard to believe, but my temper was off the chain. Like, because I wasn't going to let anyone get over on me. I was already out.
Right.
So I wasn't going to let anyone put me into a weak and timid situation anymore. So I'm telling you, y'all, I'm saved and delivered now. But before, I could go blow to blow. I could string some cuss words together and even create some
Mhm.
because I was always ready to tussle with somebody
Right.
Right.
because that's all I knew.
Mhm.
So you could say, something as simple to me. To me, that's probably where "Nuck If You Buck" came from,
I
right?
think so.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too.
That's
I
probably
think that's where it came
it's,
from.
it's holy "Nuck If You Buck" now.
Yeah.
But Liz, you're from, is it New York?
New York.
So I think a lot of that plays into your character as well, because those from the upstate don't have that southern mentality as much as us. So I think a lot
Right.
of that, plays into who you are as well.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and then even, coming from Queens, New York, like you learn how to take care of yourself, you learn how to advocate for yourself, and that was it. And even now moving to the South, like I've adapted the South, like I'm a Southern belle now with a little twang of New York in there. So I'm speaking to people in the grocery store, "Hey y'all, how you doing? You good today?" And then still the minute somebody gets out of line, I'm like, "Wait a minute, tap in."
Oh my God, that is you. Yes. Yeah. I'm so glad you are aware of who you are.
I'm aware. I'm aware. That's why I say it's
But you
barely
know
me to
what,
read.
Liz? Not only for yourself, you're defensive for us.
I am.
Yeah,
I am.
yeah. Your little self.
I
And,
am.
and I can speak to that. I know as one of your sisters, let somebody try it.
Plays no games. Barely 5 feet. Barely
I
5.
already know.
But don't mess with anybody I love.
That's it. I already
Right.
know.
Mm-mm.
And I appreciate that. Y'all silly. I ain't messing with y'all.
But I do. But again, like I said, it's important for people to understand we're weaving in oh wait, I'm hearing a little bit of an echo. Is that me?
Yeah.
I don't hear it.
Okay. I hear it. All right. Maybe it'll go away. But there is a hold on, I need to do something because I'm still hearing it. It just started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't
Just
hear it. Not on my side.
Okay. I still hear it. Okay, well y'all talk and I'm gonna work on this.
You still
okay.
hearing it?
Hmm?
You still hear it?
I still hear it.
Is it like when you talk or when all of us talk?
It's when I talk.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, it stopped now.
We'll stop now. Yeah, I don't hear it.
Yeah. Okay. But what I was saying is that there's just an importance for people to understand that it is not something when you make these insensitive comments like you shared when you say, "Oh, couldn't be me." It very well could be you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just haven't come across the right soul tie yet,
Hmm.
Right.
right? It could be a situation to where people think, okay, well, they're in a marriage, but they're in a marriage that they're unhappy in, and the husband or the wife speak to them any old kind of way. That's domestic abuse.
Absolutely.
Right. Yes.
Oh, well, this person handles all the finances, and I just stay hands off of it. Now, depending on the structure, if you've structured it that way, but if it is a means of control,
Hmm.
that's domestic abuse.
Hmm.
And so when people say, "Oh, it couldn't be me," oh, I'm ready to lean into you because I want to know how you feel like it couldn't be you.
Yeah.
Right.
And 9 times out of 10, it probably is them, but they just didn't see it. Like, don't realize that. Okay, I don't get to go out with my friends, but I'm okay with that because I'm with my husband.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
him isolating you from everybody else.
From everybody else.
That's
Yeah,
him drawing you away. So when something happens,
there's a there's a big difference between asking for permission and being considerate.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Do
hmm
you mind if I go out? That's considerate. Is it
Right.
okay if I go out? No.
Right.
Well, why not?
Right. Right.
Right.
So I think we have to have an understanding of what it looks like because it could look very different for others. It could be subtle,
Yes.
and sometimes it's very loud and blatant.
Right.
And so when we're insensitive in this nature or this culture of where we can judge, where
Mm.
sometimes we see 5 seconds of someone's life and we judge,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
or where we become keyboard killers and we get in there and we start with the comments and doing all of these things,
Hmm.
and we have no idea what the person is dealing with, or the fact that if they leave, to them they may die.
Yes.
Right.
And so we make comments and we're unsensitive. And I don't believe it's intentional. I don't think it's intentional. Sometimes it's just we're not educated.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And we think we're helping, but we're not.
Not right.
One of the things that I adopted was if I'm working with somebody that may be in a domestic situation, I would never tell you to stay and I will never tell you to leave, but I'll support your decision because it has to be your decision at your time.
Hmm.
Mhm.
You
Right.
have to be ready to do it. Because if
Yeah.
you do it on my account, one, if something happens, you're going to blame me.
Mhm.
Right.
So I don't want that to happen, but it has to be a decision that you make and you're comfortable with, and you may not even be comfortable with it, but you decide that enough is enough and I got to do something different. And I
Yeah.
Right.
support you in that. And I'll support you the best that I can if you choose to stay in it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And the best thing you can do, honestly, you can pray.
Hmm.
You can pray. I just solely believe that we have the authority to speak things.
Yes,
And I
sir.
believe we have the authority to decree safety over someone
Hmm.
and to say, they shall live and they shall not die. I strongly believe in the power of prayer. I also believe that we could be ready with resources.
Yes.
Hmm.
Hey, I know I gave this to you 2 weeks ago and you didn't do nothing with it. Here you go. Here it is again.
Right.
You need to talk to me? No problem. Now, I'm not saying let somebody dump on you, trauma
Right.
dump on you. That's
Hmm.
not what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But if you can offer them a listening ear and you can pray for them, offload them to the feet of Jesus.
Right. That's
Hmm.
good.
Don't carry them,
That's good.
Right.
but have compassion and sincerity towards them. How many times do we go to our Father, Jesus? How many times do we go to Jesus and say, "It's me, I'm back again. I know I didn't listen 2 weeks ago.
Your shirt,
Hmm.
prime
Right.
product of another chance.
It's
Yes.
me again.
It's
Right.
me. It's me, oh Lord.
Listen, the
Yes.
archangels be like, now why? We done been down this road before.
Listen,
Why are we doing this?
on
Right.
on heaven's ring camera, like y'all home, because it's me again.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
And he looking at the camera like that's my daughter.
That's her.
It's me, Dad, again.
The prodigal daughter. I love it.
But the same grace we have to be able to extend to others and say,
Yeah.
I know we've talked about this,
Mhm.
but I support you. I love you. I'm here for you. What do you need?
Right.
We have
Right.
to be able to care without carrying.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Okay, Queen Frida, go ahead.
I like that. You had to be able to care without caring. I like that. Right. Yes. Yes. Because a lot of times, because I always say, because my daughter, she had a friend that was going through one of my daughter's situation. She got to the point she was like, I don't want to hear that no more. I'm so tired of hearing that. She gonna do nothing but go back to her. So I would tell her, no matter what, that's your friend, and always just be there to be a list. Have a listening ear. All the time. She's not gonna take your advice.
Yeah.
You can give it to her. She's gonna make her own decision to do what she want to do. But you just still be there for her. Don't turn your back and say I don't want to hear it. Just listen. Just
Mhm.
listen. Sometimes you don't have to say nothing. Just be that listen ear to give comfort. So what you said to carry it, but not carry. So yeah, I like that, to carry without
Yeah.
carry.
Because there's a cycle that happens with it. Normally, there is tensions that will build. There's an incident that happens. And then there's usually a honeymoon spot that happens where things smooth over and it's not
Right.
that bad. But then
Mm-hmm.
guess what? Tensions build, an incident, right back into the
Right
honeymoon
back to the
phase.
game. Right.
And the
Right.
only way to stop that circle is to get out of it. That cycle is to get out of it.
Right.
So
Right. This has been awesome. Before we go tonight, can you give information on Project Rest as far as, if someone's listening, how they can get help? Because they may not even know tonight of what resources are out there, and help is available, and that it is not a charge.
sure. So Project Rest, we have our location. I want to make sure I give it properly. So we have our location here.
Are you able to do the video, Liz, or it won't let you do it?
Yeah, I'll try to do that as well too. But the main office is located at 236 Union Street, and that's in Spartanburg, South Carolina, 29302. The office crisis line is 864-583-9803. And then the president and CEO is Crystal Watson. Phenomenal. And she is crystal.watson@projectrest.org. There is a team of amazing therapists, amazing staff. There's a 24/7 shelter. There is therapy help. There's legal advocacy help that is there in the Spartanburg County Courthouse on the 3rd floor. So you can reach out to me if you need to get connected. You can reach out directly to that crisis line that I gave you. But there is support. There is resources. I'm going to share this video if it will allow me to,
Okay.
just to talk a little bit more about hearing from our local leaders as it relates to domestic violence. So I will
Okay.
see if I can share this. And I wonder if it'll let me share sound as well. Let's see. Guess I'll hit share screen. Yeah, I think I can do it here. Okay, now tell me, can you all see my screen?
No, ma'am.
Nope. All
Oh
right.
wait, I gotta show it on the stream. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to play a little bit and then tell me if you can hear the sound.
Okay.
Domestic violence
Yep.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
is a pervasive issue here in this country. Every year, millions of lives are impacted by domestic violence. But don't just hear it from me. Let's hear it from some familiar faces.
The story of Rihanna and Chris Brown.
Highly publicized fight at actress Halle Berry's house.
Regularly beaten by his father.
Combs assaulting then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura in a hallway.
Every minute, 20 people are physically abused by someone they love.
3 women are murdered every day by their intimate partners.
3 out of 4 advocates report that immigrant survivors fear accessing legal services related to their abuser.
Nearly half of LGBTQ plus people in the United States will experience domestic violence in their lifetime.
More than 80% of survivors of intimate partner violence reported that their abusive partners disrupted their ability to work.
1 in 5 college students experience dating violence by a current or former partner.
Black women are 35% more likely to experience domestic violence than white women in the United States.
1 in 4 women and 1 in 10 men in the U.S. face severe intimate partner violence.
Women who experience domestic abuse are 3 times more likely to attempt suicide.
But what about our home here in South Carolina? The numbers are even more alarming. Domestic violence is present in our schools, our universities, our places of employment, where we worship, and where we rest our heads at night. The violence must stop.
Domestic violence here in South Carolina. The findings are disturbing.
Dozens of South Carolina women killed by an intimate partner every year.
South Carolina is 6th in the nation for women killed by men.
Every year, over 32,000 cases of intimate partner violence
are reported in the state of South Carolina.
79% of domestic violence fatalities in South Carolina involve guns.
80% of homeless women with children have experienced domestic violence.
African Americans make up 41% of domestic violence shelter residents in South Carolina.
Within the next minute, 20 people will be harmed physically by someone they love. We challenge you to donate $20 to Project Rest to support our mission to end the cycle of domestic violence. We'll give you a minute. The clock starts now. Thank you for your time and attention. With the support of our community, we will end the cycle of domestic violence.
Okay.
Oh, wow, I love that.
But again, just thank you for the opportunity to just share about Project Rest, to share a little piece of my story, and just to bring awareness to a issue, a matter, a problem that impacts us all. You heard some of the alarming statistics that were included in the video, and so appreciate your financial support for Project Rest, your time if you're able to volunteer. You can go to projectrest.org and be able to sign up for volunteers. We would absolutely be honored if you would partner with us in this way.
Yes. This is awesome. This has been awesome. And I encourage everyone to share. And I know that it's, like you said, whether it touch one, whether it touch 10, I feel it's going to touch somebody. And that's the purpose of Free Your Mind podcast, to bring on, discuss issues or things that are happening every day within our community, and not just in our community, but all over. So I encourage everyone to share. The replay will be available as well. And we thank you so much for coming on tonight to share your story, and also as far as what you're doing. We really enjoyed this.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Always an honor and a pleasure.
Yes. Before we leave, was there any last words, encouraging words that you want to tell someone that just as far as uplifting, someone that may think they can't go on, someone that feel they just can't go on, some type of encouraging word?
Yeah, for anyone that is navigating domestic violence, I just encourage you to make a decision to live. I encourage you to choose peace. Beyond your current circumstances, you have options, you have resources, you have alliances, people that are waiting for you. You are needed, you are necessary, you are valued, you are loved. So please get connected to some people that can show you the type of love that you deserve as it relates to being celebrated and honored for your life. If there is someone that's on here and you're just navigating any type of challenges or circumstances, maybe it's not domestic violence, but just encourage you to push through, to continue to anchor yourself in whatever it is that can help you find that second wind that you need. And just if there's anything we could ever do to serve you, look, I'm offering up my queens here. Please reach out. I just know by being in partnership with them that they're willing to just get you connected to wherever you need. So we're here for you. You're not alone, and you definitely don't have to walk through this life alone.
Yes. Yes. Well, this has been awesome. It has been an awesome night. And again, I encourage everyone to share and watch and again, the replay will be available. And tonight we will end, and we wish everyone a blessed night. And until next time, as we always say, free your mind and the rest will follow.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Have a blessed night.